Planet Mission Part 1 by David Claiborne, as read by the author. New chapters every Monday. The full novel is available on Amazon.com and other online retailers. Links in the description. Chapter 23. We Shall See. They had traveled farther than he thought on their ride, and it took more than an hour to get back. He fumed all the way back to camp. What foolishness! What arrogance! Waters knew what it was. There was a term for that kind of psychological issue, but he could not bring it to mind just then. A word for when people were shown to be wrong, but persisted anyway. He would ask Jazzy when he saw her next. She was not a psychologist by training, but she might be able to give him the word. Why should he continue to meet with the mayor if the conversations went nowhere? It was his duty as a member of the mission, of course. It would not really be a failure. It would only mean Mufasa would step in and resettle the colonists and submit those who did not comply to supplemental education. That would be better for the colonists anyway. They would get a seat in the colonial house and have the benefits afforded to people who still lived under the administration. Best of all, they could live on facts instead of myths. He approached the camp and passed the enclosure where they kept the APOC. The Polus bear stopped and remained at a distance. Its fur flashed green and orange, and it stomped nervously. The APOC had refracted the light to blend into the environment and was hardly visible. Waters knew it was there and knew to look for a distortion in the light to spot it. He saw a slight shimmer like hot air rising and made out an outline. Poor creature, he said to himself. The colonists are so wrong about so many things. They can't be right about this animal either. He approached the cage. As he did, the APOC surprised him by becoming visible. It must be starting to trust us, he said. Why can't they see? These creatures just need the same care they give to all the other animals, and it will be no different. Before Molly left, her analysis found that the APOC's skin absorbed more than 99% of all light, more than their instruments could detect. It seemed a creature of pure shade. It absorbed so much light that it cast no shadows on itself, and so appeared with hardly any form. If not for its bony protuberances and spines, its true shape would have been very difficult to see. Waters approached the gate, and the creature materialized and gazed back at him with unimaginably dark eyes. The Polus bear turned and fled. He spoke aloud to the APOC. With Molly gone, there's really no point in continuing to keep you captive. She completed her studies anyway. The only point of holding you would be transport to Earth. It would be cruel to take you out of your natural environment. Cruelty to animals is one of the worst things a person can do. Yes, it's time. Time to set you free. Waters passed his phone over the door panel. With a beep, the latch opened. Waters pushed the door inward and stepped back. The APOC approached and showed its teeth. Whatever its color or lack of color, its teeth were the purest white. If he had not known for certain that animals were incapable of higher emotion, he would have sworn it grinned at him. "What are you doing?" came a shout from behind. He turned to see the mayor riding at full speed. Waters stepped with his arms held out wide between the APOC and charging Polus bear. He regretted his brave moment, cringed, and expected to be trampled, but there was no need. The APOC darted from the enclosure into the trees and disappeared. "Have you any idea what you've done? And so close to the city," the mayor shouted, his voice booming. He was angry in a way that Waters had not seen from any colonist, not even Jonathan. The mayor pulled out his phone. A screen projected in front of him with a map. It pulsed and sounded as if it tried to detect something. "It must have made itself visible again," the mayor said to no one in particular. "What you've done is extremely serious," he said as he turned back to Waters. "All I did is return an animal to nature where it belongs," Waters replied, defiant. "What you've done is the height of foolishness, and it must be dealt with immediately. We will need to decide how you should be disciplined for this," the mayor said, extremely serious. "Disciplined?" Waters cried, exasperated. "What I've done is right, and you have no authority over me to administer discipline in any case. In fact, it is the other way around. It is you who should be listening to us. We represent Earth and have the full authority of Mufasa and the administration behind us." "We shall see about that," the mayor said. "We shall see," Waters repeated. The mayor rode away from their camp up the hill, the Polus bear carrying him at a terrific pace. They were incredibly fast for their size. Waters admitted to himself he had been scared when the mayor charged. Not frightened, but the APOC stirred something deeper in him. He was proud he stood his ground. However, there was something else to deal with now. The mayor had threatened him. This was something he would need to discuss with the missionaries. Jazzy would want to be part of the conversation, but regardless of who participated in the discussion, he was confident he had acted in the right and that they would support him. Jazzy had developed no great love for the colonists in her time here either, which was in his favor. He did not find her at the Rover. He tried to call Jazzy on her phone, then Bo, but neither answered. Thinking they might be at the clinic, he resigned himself to walking to the plaza and Jazzy's clinic. Junebug, however, was at work in a plot of soil nearby. "Are you headed to the city?" he asked. Waters told him about his encounter with the mayor and his decision to release the APOC. His acts seemed increasingly impulsive in the telling, but it did not matter. "I guess I didn't need to release the APOC. I probably should have left it in the enclosure," he said. "That probably would have been best, but it's too late for that now," Junebug agreed. "Where's Tommy? I could use his help now," Waters asked. "Probably flying with the colonists. He got his machine working. I really wish we had one of those," Junebug said. Junebug followed Waters up the hill, and together they approached the plaza. A cadre of colonists was already there, including the mayor, Jonathan, Patience, and several others, all mounted on Polus bears. The dilapidated clinic still stood on the side of the plaza, but neither Jazzy nor Bo seemed to be there. The colonists surrounded Waters and Junebug, not threatening them, but they knew they were not free to leave either. The Polus bears were intimidating, but he had learned they would not hurt him. The mayor spoke first. "Director Waters, you are accused of having released an APOC near the city, thereby putting all of its people in danger. Do you deny that you have done this?" Waters did feel guilty, but his hackles raised at the accusation. "I released the APOC, yes, but Mayor, none of you are in danger. It's just an animal." "That's enough," interrupted the mayor, his voice echoing off the city walls. Jonathan spoke. "You put all of the people in this city, including your own team and all of the surrounding area, at risk with your stupidity. We tried to warn you, and you ignored us, assuming in your arrogance that you knew better." "That's enough, Jonathan," the mayor said. "Although what you say is true, it is not your place." "If you please, Mayor," Waters said, not at all plaintive. "As I mentioned earlier, neither you nor anyone here has the authority over me to take any action. I am here on a mission from Mufasa and Earth, and carry the full weight of the administration's mandate with me." "How strong does that mandate feel now?" Jonathan retorted. Waters admitted he was in a difficult situation. "I said that's enough, Jonathan," the mayor admonished before turning back to Waters. "I know you do not understand what you have done. We share part of the responsibility as well. We should not have allowed you to keep the APOC as your pet, and should have slain it outright, captive or no. Therefore, we will aid you in correcting the error. We lay before you two options. You shall either undo this grievous fault by hunting and killing the APOC yourself, not recapturing, mind you, but killing it. You must remove this evil from among us." "Mayor, really," Waters protested. "Failing this," the mayor continued, ignoring him, "you and your team shall disassemble your camp and depart. You will return to the spaceport and not come near the city again. Do not fail to take us seriously in this, Director. We have tolerated your presence here, hoping that you might come to see the truth, and we rejoice that one has done so. Permitting you to stay so long has proven a mistake. We will not compound it should you refuse. It may be that we should not have allowed you to enter the valley at all, as you have brought wickedness among us, but that is done. All we can do now is make it right. What do you say?" "If I refuse to kill an animal," Waters said. "Then we will effectuate your departure immediately," the mayor replied. Waters looked to the clinic, hoping that Bo or Jazzy would emerge to support him, to shut down the colonists' ridiculous assertion of authority over their mission. "They will not come to help you. They are lost deep in themselves," the mayor said, following the train of his gaze. "Make your decision." "You leave me no choice. I cannot allow our mission to fail, even based on threats from those who have no authority to end it." "This is the beginning of making it right, then," the mayor said. "Jonathan, you will go with him." Jonathan's jaw dropped, and the smug look he wore fell from his face, but he made no protest. Instead, he satisfied himself with an angry look at Waters. "You have not yet killed an APOC yourself, Jonathan. Besides, you need to atone for the hostility you have shown our guests. They may not have been entirely welcome here, but you should have treated them better." Jonathan reddened, but said nothing. "Can I go too?" Junebug asked. Everyone looked at him in surprise. "I'd just like to go is all." "You may take any of your companions you want, but you must leave immediately. We cannot permit the creature to escape. We will provide you with the supplies and tools you'll need." Waters looked around, hoping Tommy would appear with his rifle, but he too was nowhere to be seen. The circle of colonists opened, and a pair of Polus bears sidled up. I brought forward a poncho and saddlebag for the missionaries, and Patience passed each of them a lance. A leather thong sheathed and concealed the blade. "Direct this only at that which you intend to kill, nothing else ever," she said. "They don't even know which end to point," Jonathan taunted, who received as reward another stern look from the mayor. The three set out immediately. Waters and Jonathan rode side by side, or as close as two people could on massive Polus bears. Junebug rode behind. All were silent. Waters pretended to be very interested in the map on his phone. Jonathan flew a tiny drone that projected a screen. It searched for anomalies that would signal the APOC had camouflaged. Waters would not look at Jonathan, who for his part could not keep from boring angry holes through Waters with his eyes. "You could have borrowed one of our drones," Jonathan said, finally breaking the silence with a gesture at Waters' phone. "It's fine," Waters said. "What is your problem?" Jonathan said. Waters had enough and was ready to voice his frustration. "What is my problem? How could you ask that? How could you not know? Since we arrived, you stupid, ignorant people have done nothing but ignore and ridicule everything we've been trying to teach you. As if a bunch of colonists could show Earth, anything. We tried to bring you education, ignored. Healthcare, ignored. Government, ignored. And now you threaten to execute an innocent animal, an animal we were trying to study and protect, for having done no more than be taboo in your backward society. And to make it worse, you force me and Junebug to participate in your barbarism. How in the hell could you ask me what my problem is?" Junebug kept his head down. "Your problem is you don't listen to anyone," Jonathan responded. "Not to the mayor, not to me, not even to Molly. To the people who have lived here for decades and know this planet, helped shape this planet. Your heads are buried so deep in your precious administration that you can't even see anymore. You know nothing of Polus, nothing of the city, and nothing of what is true," Jonathan said. "True? What do you hicks know about truth? Truth comes from the administration. Glory to the administration. You and your precious administration. You cling to it as if it were the ending of all arguments. Have you any idea how often your precious administration has been wrong? Any idea how often your administration has killed? We are not the ones worshipping a false god. We serve the living God. Your God tells you to tie your shoes one way today, and tomorrow it will tell you different, and none of you will even question," Jonathan said. "The administration is no god, it just is. You're the one who can't see what's right in front of him. You believe your stupid mythology is real like a child. God is real. There is no such thing as God. If there was, we would have found something, anything, the smallest bit of evidence that there was a God, any God, but no. We can see distant stars, but sorry, no trace of a God. Haven't discovered him yet. We have telescopes that can see distant galaxies. Have any of you seen God yet? Nope, sorry, no God. We can measure the width of the pieces of the components of a proton. Hey guys, did you see God there? What's that? No God here. There is no such thing as God. If there really was this benevolent old man floating on a cloud in space around the Earth, we would have found him by now. There is no God. You're so blinded by what you can pick up, what you can put down, what you can measure, what you can destroy, you've convinced yourself that the only things worthwhile are those you can put on a scale. But it's worse than that. You're so blind you think anything you cannot describe is without value. There is nothing we cannot describe. You proclaim, "We have measured a thing, we are its master," and you actually believe it, Jonathan continued, ignoring Waters. Then worse, you are so far gone that you believe something only has value if you can tie a string around it and measure the length of the line. You think you know what a star is because you have named its elements. You name the parts and think you understand the thing. Is that all you are? A pile of dust? Is that all this planet is? The fourth moon of Polus? A thing's value only just starts well past your pitiful measurements. People have value beyond their use to your fallen administration. When you cannot reconcile your ignorance, when you don't understand, when something doesn't fit your precious administration's plan, you toss it aside, or destroy it, like you did with the colonists on Alpha Centauri B, like you do on Earth, like you tried to do with Molly. Waters' face tightened. He leaned towards Jonathan and gritted his teeth, his face red and his eyes flashing in anger. Jonathan gripped his lance. Junebug watched, horrified, certain they would come to blows. Why had the mayor insisted these two go together? Certainly there were dozens of colonists who had more experience with apox. Why didn't he send one of them? Then Jonathan's drone chirped, that blessed drone, interrupting their argument. Its screen flashed an alert. Jonathan brought up a map of the area. It showed a spherical ping. Jonathan leaned forward on his lance. Waters unclenched his fists, but kept one eye on Jonathan. He found something. Let's go. Jonathan's Polus bear broke into a canter without a word or movement from its rider. Its legs rolled underneath it smoothly and gracefully. It's not a he, it's a drone, Waters called after him. He beat his heels against the side of his mount frantically in a vain effort to move faster. Junebuck rode up beside him. You just have to ask it, he said. I am not asking an animal's permission to move faster, Waters insisted. Junebuck rode to catch up with Jonathan.